Yes, firstly, we are very, very glad that we discovered for us a symphony by Dora Pejačević. I think we have performed it in Leipzig before, and it was really surprising to realize what a wonderful emotional piece she has written, and I think her writing is, of course, you can see the influence of big, Germanic geniuses and the composers, but in the meantime, there is something also original about her. Her use of orchestra, the instrumentation, and it's very, very, very masterfully done, and also the structure of the piece is it's not easy, I think, to use the big orchestra and to have a symphony in 45 minutes and to make it interesting with instrumentation and with development of your ideas. And I think she certainly has a very clear idea of a journey where the music is leading and what colors each moment of music is giving. So she's certainly the great, wonderful composer, and we are very glad that we can perform her piece. Yes, I still remember me being 5 years old, like sitting now here. I remember sitting in the opera house in Riga at the age of 5, and there's a Bordeaux colored chairs and the darkness, and then conductor coming in the pit and starting the overture. That was a love from the first moment for me. That opera, and generally music of Wagner. I was only 5 years old, as I said. So, and that has, I think, put a very big influence on me, and I think since then and all the way through, Wagner has been one of the most important composers in my life. I mean, he's following his operas, conducting his operas, and listening, and it's he's. I think he proves that the music is so universal, so it goes so deep, and it goes beyond the intellect. It's, as he said, it's in a way the highest art form. If I would, it's very subjective, but I think that there are things in the music which you can't explain. You can't explain even with your brain and your intellect. What sometimes happens, you can only experience it with your heart and with your being. But what is exactly what happens with your brain or mind, you sometimes don't know. You just can feel it. And I think, and that's very certainly, his music is so addictive. It's so narcotic in a way. It is for me it's difficult to say how it would be if I would be introduced to his music at a later age. But for me, from being 5 years old, and I remember my dad. He prepared me before going to the opera. He played me LPs, the old LPs, with a recording of Tanhus. Just told me about the story, what happens, and of course I knew that I was expecting things, but still, when you went in the opera and that silence before the orchestra started to play, and all that Bacchanal, end of Bacchanal is suddenly transitioned to this, to the back on the earth, and this darkness and then this light, and And then, of course, at the end, I was crying. You know, I was so emotional. I was crying. Poor Tannhäuser and poor Elizabeth, and should have been. I mean, so very simply, I think it has influenced my musical life. I'm sure, and I love Wagner's music. I mean, we know he was a challenging person, but the depth of music, what he touched, whether he was aware of that or not, I think he climbed so high. And that proves the music goes beyond nationality, beyond anything. It's a language of a soul. It's a language of the soul, of your deeper inner being. And also at the end, it is a language of humanity, because what we're talking through music, expressing, it's a love, it's compassion, it's forgiveness, there's so many questions which even Wagner, who was, as I said, one of the challenging personalities, but through the music he talked about his highest dreams and acts, like forgiveness, and if you look at the forgiveness of you know, if you think of Elizabeth, or you think of Tristan, or if you think of, you know, any other opera, he touches the highest humanic act through his music, and that's what we experience listening. And I believe because of that it infects us, and we are forced to think about these things, to think about our lives, to think generally what happens in the world in connection to what we just heard in the music. And I believe that our mission as musicians, and the mission of every person who is involved in the audience, sitting in the audience, or it is a mission which we pass to generation, to introduce this feeling of listening to music, and to share these deeper human ideas, and to pass it to a young generation and generation after. Like my dad passed it to me through this very early approach to Wagner, then I think that happens in life of so many people. Yes, I think when we look to Wagner's music and analyze, and of course, if you think of Valkyrie, for example, now Act 1, what we're going to perform, there, of course, there is a moments of a full orchestra in a full blossoming, and culminations, and the brass and the full orchestra playing. There is also moments where, of course, of the singers singing full voice, and singers projecting through the orchestra, and there are the moments of like when Zygmunt sings all these. Just you think it's the maximum what human voice can do. But in the meantime, when we look, there is so much moments of chamber music feeling. It's really orchestra being so transparent, and the singing is almost like Schubert. It's almost the feeling is like it would sing a Schubert song, and the orchestra is so. And if you think, of course, in Valkyrie Act 1, it's what we perform, but also when we think of so many operas, that each opera there are moments of chamber music. If it's the Ring, including the Ring, or Tristan, of course, Act 2, or any Tannhäuser, Wolfram, or there are, and of course in Valkyrie Act 1 there are these moments of where you think it's so soft, it goes out of this world, and it requires a wonderful qualities, very important qualities of the singers, of the orchestra, and and I'm very pleased that we have such an amazing cast, such an amazing orchestra, of course, and these singers I've been working together before, and they are absolutely fantastic, and I'm looking forward to share this range of the amplitude of this music, of the secrets of this music, and to dare to dream, and to dare to hope, and to hope that things can be better. It's somehow, it's in music, it's, if you listen, if you're a person who has listened to the music or the piece concretely a lot of times, and you know it from memory, and of course, mostly all people, even who haven't heard the piece, they know how it's going to end, and what the story is, and how it's but there is always this very interesting feeling that even if we know the story, or the libretto, or we know how it finishes, the music musically, what tonality, and is it a very pathos way ending, or it's very, very soft fading out, you always start with it, when you listen, still thinking, but maybe this time will be different. There is something which is very naive. It makes you feel to go through again and again these feelings, what you feel when you listen to music. Because we could say, okay, Valkyrie Act 1, okay, it starts, and it ends, very, Act 1, very, exciting. And you think, okay, so we know it, see you next time, and you say, okay, fine. But we need to experience, even if we want to experience from the first bar to the last bar, again, this journey. We need it like a food for our souls. We really need it. And even if you know how it's going to end, we still need to experience this. And there is this hope, naive hope, that maybe this time something different will happen. And to be honest, music is also the art form where I think it's not possible to perform something 2 times exactly the same. Because what is behind the notes, between the notes, that's what we are bringing through, and it's very subjective, including the tempo, including sometimes the dynamic, including the certain colors, a certain coloring at some moment, at that particular moment, the tempo. It's not always predictable. Even, of course, we have a score, and we absolutely faithfully look to the score and perform what's written, but we very much know that the real secret is what is between these notes, what the composer wanted to express, what lies behind this, what message. And even if it's subjective, it's still very important, is what message it brings to the audience and to the humanity, and generally.